Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling and Rocky, from Amazon and MGM Studios, has launched past $300 million globally at the box office following its second weekend, day 10. This movie just keeps going, and I don't expect it to let up anytime soon, even with some competition coming in from the Mario Brothers on Wednesday. But if you've been listening to me talk about this film on the live shows recently, then you know that word of mouth for this movie is very strong, and it's going to keep driving a bunch of ticket sales in the coming weeks. Renegade Online. Well, folks, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see all of you out there once again. And if you are like one of the many watching this video, not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment and turn that little red subscribe button to gray. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell. Share this sucker out on the social medias. And of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. Make sure to join us right here Sunday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show. No surprise, Project Hail Mary is the top movie again this weekend with one heck of a hold. Estimates now put it at coming in around $54 million in its second weekend. That's only down from an $80 million first weekend. That's an excellent set of numbers for this film. And what is hopefully a sign of the times for the box office, to quote Harry Styles' song in Project Hail Mary, non-franchise IP is excelling around the world, with Amazon MGM's posting an amazing $108.6 million second frame for a running total of $300.8 million. Not only is that the top grossing Amazon MGM Studios post-merger, besting the $276 million haul of 2023's Creed 3, but it's also currently the top grossing MPA title of 2026 year to date. Remember, China, the racing car movie Pegasus 3 is the highest grossing movie of the year to date with $630 million. Now, remember, those Chinese movies do work a little bit differently with their communist social scoring system, so you pretty much got to go see what the CCP tells you to. But hey, China is doing pretty well with Project Hail Mary, with its Maoyan score 9+ right now for the Ryan Gosling film, and that says a lot. Broken out, the Ryan Gosling movie did $54.1 million in 86 markets, a 5% drop. Damn! Yeah, let me say that again. A 5% drop in international business for Project Hail Mary compared to its opening weekend. 5. It may as well have been 0. Add to that another $54 million in the domestic market for the second weekend. Now, again, the first weekend here in the U.S. was $80 million, a little over $80 million. And that was a big surprise, especially when we had, even just 2 or 3 days before the movie opened, estimates for the weekend tracking around maybe 50 to 60 and then pushing up closer to 65 and 70. And then, of course, after the movie was open, all bets were off because it just kept rocketing past. The international box office, however, opened up softer than the domestic one, giving that opening weekend a push of about 140 to 141 million. But the international audiences have really caught on and basically didn't slack up at all between the first and second weekend. That tells me that the international box office is going to start claiming a little bit bigger share of the overall pie in the coming weeks. Project Hail Mary was number 1 in 60 markets, including China, the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Mexico, Brazil, Australia, and Japan. Openings this weekend, which were all the best in each market for an MPA title, included Spain with 2.3 million at 648 screens. So let's take a look at everything in breakdown, black and white. Here's the weekend box office as per the numbers, and thank God the numbers is back up and running again. We really missed you guys, but it's good to see that we've got not everything back in play yet, but certainly a lot more than what we had a week ago. Project Hail Mary right there for the second weekend at 54 million, a little over 54 million, with a 32% decline from its opening weekend. You've heard me say for years, anytime a film drops under 50% from weekend 1 to weekend 2, it's a win. If it drops lower than 40% from weekend 1 to weekend 2, it's a big win. If this thing is coming down near 30%, almost into the 20s, because these results are not final yet, then it is a massive, spectacular win for this film, especially when you consider that it opened at $80 million. Now, this breakdown domestic to international is a good bit closer than it was last weekend because, again, international has been catching up during the week. And if you recall, international on these box office reports typically only updates once a week. We usually get these updates on Sunday or Monday. So as we watch the film's overall global gross tracking through the week, we have to bear in mind that we're not getting those international figures updated at the same rate that we do the domestic box office. But again, let's get to the nitty-gritty on this. We've got the weekend box office performance, again, going from 80 million on opening to 54.5 million on the second weekend, a drop of only 32%. And again, that's estimated. And that 54 million in the second weekend is already radically overperforming the earlier estimates for weekend 2. The earlier estimates coming into weekend 2 were something like 40 to 45 million. And then 45 to 50 looked like it was in play come Friday. And now here we are at 54.5. Again, this could be 55 or 56 million clean by Monday morning when we get the real numbers. But look at the daily box office tracking here. And this is something that is quite interesting. If we go down and we look at that first Monday, a drop-off of 66% from opening weekend, we had some real good Thursday previews in there. We had that special Monday night screening, which it seems like is becoming more commonplace for some of these bigger titles. But then we go into the Monday, the Tuesday, 6.9 million, 9.4 million, a big boost on Discount Tuesday. And then it only fell back 28% for the Wednesday, 6.7 million. Usually we see a sharper decline to that Wednesday from the Discount Tuesday, but that is a very good hold. March 26th, the first Thursday, that wasn't a preview, of course, only down 9% from the Wednesday, another 6.1 million. And that should have told the story right there of what was about to happen in weekend 2. 56% down from the first Friday, although that first Friday of 33 million, it included Thursday previews of 12. When you back that out, that first Friday on March 20th was only about $21 million. Compare that to the second real Friday, and that number actually looks even a lot better. And with the Saturday and Sunday only down 16% on Saturday and Sunday week over week. That's phenomenal. Now, of course, there's a lot of questions out there about what kind of impact is Super Mario Bros. Galaxy going to have on the box office, especially with something like Project Hail Mary, who is doing very, very well right now. To be honest, I don't know if it's going to have as big of an impact as one might expect. Yes, Project Hail Mary is going to be sharing some screens now, some PLFs and certainly some IMAX with Super Mario Brothers, but the idea is that Super Mario Brothers is going to be more of a daytime player, especially with Easter break happening right now, this coming week, and the following week after Easter. Those kids and those parents are going to go see something like Super Mario Brothers movie more heavily weighted to the daytime than we see with most films. So you're probably going to see PLFs and things like IMAX that are going to share screens, meaning you'll have Super Mario Brothers mostly during the day, and they'll probably still have a screening for Project Hail Mary at night. And of course, the other problem is that pretty much kicks Hoppers right out. Speaking of, by the estimates right now, Hoppers, after 24 days, not 10 days like Project Hail Mary, is not even quite to $300 million yet. And this is the movie that's probably going to suffer the largest and most adverse impact from the release of Mario Bros. Galaxy on Wednesday, April 1st. That audience is very similar. The families and kids and people that are going to go see Hoppers otherwise are going to shift gears over to Super Mario Bros. Galaxy more so than I think Project Hail Mary. I told the story last Sunday on the live show when I sat down for the first time, the first Monday night it came out, before the Thursday and Friday main release for Project Hail Mary. I was stunned at how many older folks were in the auditorium. I probably had at least 10 people that looked like they were in their late 50s and 60 plus ages sitting next to me. I haven't seen folks like that in that volume since probably Top Gun Maverick. Now, I'm not going to say that we're going to turn in a $1.4 billion Top Gun Maverick performance here with Project Hail Mary. It's possible, but at this point, it seems more like a long shot, especially because, unlike Top Gun Maverick, it's going to have a lot more competition coming in over the summer, whereas Top Gun Maverick had a pretty clear runway when it came out for several months. But Hoppers right here is the one that's really going to suffer, and with a $150 million budget, Disney is going to struggle to get to the $500 million retail box office they're going to need for this thing to survive. But I'll talk more about that in another video.
But wait, there's more.
Getting back to Project Hail Mary, however, Amazon has got to be pleased as punch. They have about $200 million net invested in this film for production. Now, Amazon hasn't been playing the theatrical release game. And remember, they are a streamer first, unlike the Paramounts and the Warner Brothers and the Walt Disneys and all of their sub-studios or Sony Pictures, and we can go on and on down the list. Amazon's a lot more like Netflix. You can almost look at this, as we've mentioned before, that Amazon is treating all of the revenue that it's generating from its theatrical release as lagniappe, as we say down here in Louisiana, a bonus. Because this is a movie that ostensibly would be like most other Amazon titles, that it would just go straight to streaming and that would be the end of it. But this movie is going to get a full regalia, obviously, of a theatrical release. And in addition to that, it's probably also going to have a PVOD window for Amazon if they're smart enough to do it, which I think they will be, before it lands on Amazon Prime as part of your subscription. That being said, if we treat it like most other films, $200 million in the ground for production, probably about another $100 million in global marketing, although it wouldn't surprise me at all if Amazon found a bunch of efficiencies, especially advertising on their own platform where everybody goes to shop for everything around the world. But let's keep it at $100 million. If this movie gets to $600 million, it's covered all of its costs before it even gets to PVOD and before it gets to Amazon Prime streaming, which again, it would have just gone to there anyway because that's the business model Amazon has up until this year. I think right now that the pundits out there are going to be proven wrong once again, at least for their early models, that they thought maybe this movie could get to 3, 4, 500 million in an extreme top end. I think 500 million right now is all but guaranteed. The question is, will it cross 600 million? Will it actually go 2x from here after 10 days in the box office, already scoring 300 million and an amazingly positive word of mouth? If Amazon is wise, they will let this thing just play out. I know they're going to be tempted to get it to PVOD and tempted to get it to Amazon Prime for streaming, probably 45 to 60 days after releasing it. I hope they give it its due, because this is one of those films that people will go back and see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks from now when there's a lull at the box office in terms of interest. Give it its chance, Amazon. Let it keep running. Let it get to 600 million. It absolutely can at this point. We'll talk more about this on the live show and in future videos. Thanks for watching, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.